What's going on, folks? Welcome to Wrestling with Savage. Tonight we're going to get into Friday Night Smackdown. If you're watching, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Make sure you're following me everywhere on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. Came at you live from Massachusetts. I believe it was in Worcester. It started off with the tag team champions RK Bro and the SmackDown tag team champions, the Usos, coming out to confront the Raw tag team champions. Basically, RKO came out, same shtick from last week. One thing that really bothers me about SmackDown is it's maybe 2-hour show, and you're probably going to get only like 30 to 40 minutes of actual wrestling. That's why I don't even buy tickets to SmackDown, and that's why I usually DVR the SmackDown, and I don't start watching it till about 8:45, because I cannot go through all the commercials that on that show. I just can't do it. Way too many commercial breaks. I like to watch my matches, my segments that I'm really into, get the gist of it, so I can, understand what's going on for that night, for that week, and then obviously now bring it back to you guys so you don't have to sit there and suffer and watch all these terrible commercials about Domino's and Papa John's and save this kid and save that animal and all this nonsense that your local networks want to bring to you. I'm tired of the commercials. That's why I DVR everything. But to get right back into the show, basically the Usos warn them that they are behind enemy lines now, and the Usos want an answer to their challenge. The Usos keep talking trash and hyping each other up while staring RK Bro down, telling them to just leave the titles here and go back to Monday Night Raw. The Usos then drop the mics and raise their fingers in the air. Orton goes on about loving and respecting the Usos' whole family. But you two are assholes. So you got to see a little bit of old school Randy Orton here, really, being a dick, basically. And, he reminds them that, hey, I've been here for 20 years. Maybe you forgot who I am, which I appreciated that part of the segment because, Randy has been around for a long time. He's a certified legend. He's arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. If you wanted to tell me that, I can't really argue with you. You have valid argument if you want to say Randy Orton is the GOAT. He's up there, and he's going to keep winning world titles. But as far as that title on his shoulders concerned right now, I'm pretty sure the Usos are going to take it, especially the lack of Roman Reigns' presence tonight. You got to see a glimpse of the name Roman Reigns on the locker room door, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't even in the building. And if he was, I don't know. I didn't see too much of Roman Reigns tonight. They didn't even hype him up in commercials, really. They didn't really go over anything, relating to him. They went heavy on promoting Usos and RK Bro, the match coming up at WrestleMania Backlash. So, they got the opening segment, and then, of course, they got the close of the night. They had the main event match. It ended up all that shit talking led to a match later in the night that would, we'll go over that later because we're going to do segment by segment on this show here, on the Savage Show. Basically, while they're in the ring in the beginning, the Usos double team Riddle. They knock him off the top. Orton's doing his thing, taking the pictures, and the Usos did a little sneak attack on Riddle, which is what set up the match for later then. Jimmy Uso and Riddle, which was booked by Adam Pearce. After that segment, you got to see a WWE Tag Team Women's match action. One of the tag team champions, Naomi versus Rhea Ripley, which I gave that match a 3-star. Basic women's match, basic TV limit, nothing too crazy about it, no real memorable moments. Rhea Ripley was with Liv Morgan. Cole and McAfee were hyping up the match that's coming up on Monday Night Raw. The bell rings and Ripley locks up with Naomi, taking it to the corner and backing off as the referee counts. Ripley then grabbed Naomi, but Naomi rolled her into a 2 count. Naomi ducks a move and hits the springboard kick to the face. Naomi then follows up with a full Nelson bomb for another close 2 count. Ripley was able to roll through for the Riptide, and Naomi resisted, but Ripley managed to hit it for the pin and get the win over Naomi. After the match, Ripley and Morgan celebrated as the music hit. Banks looked pretty concerned for the titles, as Cole was really going in trying to hype this match up in typical Adam Cole. Oh, excuse me, this is a live show here, we don't do takes. Michael Cole, which by the way, I've met Michael Cole several times and he's an asshole. I've said hello to him at least 150 times and he's said hello to me 0 times. Meanwhile, Taz, who was next to him at Sunday Night Heat every week, would always say hi. So just want to throw that out there. Michael Cole, if you ever watch this, you're probably still an asshole, I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, let's get back into it. After that segment, Kayla Braxton stops the Usos backstage for comments on what they saw with RK Bro and Adam Pearce. They basically ignore her, just keep walking. And like I said earlier, they got to the locker room of Roman Reigns, and that's the closest you're going to get to Roman Reigns tonight. So if you're here for Roman, if you're here to acknowledge him, well, the tribal chief is not in the building, apparently. His sign was, but he was not. After that, they had a look back at when Happy Corbin lost his smile last week with Madcap Moss, which led into a match between Madcap Moss versus Humberto. This was actually a pretty good match. I'd give it more than 3.5 stars if it went a little longer and had a little action going in and out of the ring. There wasn't much, to say about the match, except the finish was pretty good. Madcap Moss does have a nice... I think he does have a nice moveset. I really don't like the gimmick he has right now. Hopefully they find a way to get past this whole, I don't know if you guys remember back when they were doing the Monday Night Raw Underground Club, and they had him there and he was going up against, any challengers. And the guy looked like an absolute savage during those segments. So it boggles my mind that he was working next to a McMahon. McMahon is watching this stuff. Obviously, he likes the guy because otherwise, why are you going to have a room with 50 people in it and you're showcasing this guy's talents on national cable, Doesn't make sense. And then he goes from that to this. Maybe they're doing it to see if he's going to play ball. Maybe they're doing it to see if he's going to be like a team player, take advice, I don't know. But I like Madcap Moss. I like his moveset. I want to see him get his serious gimmick back. The match was good. After the match, Moss stand very tall. His music hits. We go to replays. Moss comes back to his trophy and he poses. Angel checks on Humberto in the ring and yells at him for losing to a joke. So apparently, that's pretty messed up to say to your partner, but what are you going to do? They have to have some kind of drama, right, on the show. After that, Charlotte Flair confronted Adam Pearce backstage asking who accepted Ronda Rousey's request for an I Quit match. Drew Gulak apparently is going to be back on SmackDown doing interviews now. He's a great wrestler, too. I'm wondering what his issues are and why he's not having a better run. Where's the lightweight title? Where's the cruiserweight title? What are we doing with that? Is 405 still even a thing? I don't even know. I don't really watch Peacock too much anymore. I miss the old WWE Network layout. It was much easier to find stuff. I don't know. I like Drew Gulak, but I don't know why he's doing interviews on Raw. There's so many other people that could be doing that. Not Raw, sorry, SmackDown. How did he do in his first backstage interview segment? Flair is pretty upset at Gulak. After the interview, she says he can get a performance review only after he interviews her in the middle of the ring. And basically, she ended up beating the shit out of him from what I saw. So not only does he have to do interviews now on SmackDown, but he apparently has to get beat up while doing them as well, which is pretty messed up. Good talent. He tried to give her a grand introduction to the SmackDown Women's Champion. He said, Charlotte, come on down. She comes out. She stops. She gets her pyro. She makes her way to the ring. Gulak opens the ropes, and Flair continues making her entrance, posing to a mixed reaction. So the crowd's like, they're booing, they're cheering. It's 50-50. She's kind of got like the Cena vibe going on right now. He welcomes Flair, introduces himself, and he basically asks if she's ready for a hard-hitting interview. She tells him to just hold the mic. Gulak says very well, but asks if she's concerned about Ronda Rousey's submission game ahead of their I Quit match at WrestleMania Backlash. Flair says she didn't refuse the match, but she was trying to protect Rousey by telling her to go back to the end of the line. Flair went on about Rousey having a very fragile ego and says she went crying, complaining to the officials to get her way. And that kind of scares Flair because it's a dangerous way of doing things. Flair brings up the WrestleMania 38 match and Gulak says he watched it and it looked like Rousey made Flair tap out. Flair says that's ridiculous. The chants were going wild as the fans were all in on screaming, "You tapped out." Everybody loves a good chant when everybody's together. Flair insisted she was just trying to fix her bra. Gulag believes Rousey wouldn't be standing here without the title if the referee saw Flair tap out. Basically, Flair did not like what Gulag had to say, ended up beating the crap out of him. Flair stands tall to a big heat from the crowd. She poses, she does her little raise the title, and on she goes to get the hell out of SmackDown. Back from the break, and the announcers tout some of the WrestleMania 38 numbers. Again, just spewing bullshit. You know, a lot of bullshit. After that, Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Drew McIntyre won by countout. It was a 2-star match. Could have been better. I love Drew. I love Sami. These guys deserve much better. They deserve better storytelling. And by storytelling, I mean actually setting up real programs that make sense, not just these random put-together filler matches that I'm just so sick of. Kayla was backstage with Ricochet. He gave a couple of props to Jinder. Right after that, we had a match between Jinder and Ricochet. Ricochet was the winner. We got back to the ring. He comes out with his championship to a little pop. Apparently, they're trying to really push him as a baby face right now. He hits the ring, shows off with a flip, poses on the ropes, and then boom, right back to another commercial, which is what I try to avoid my best. And I help you avoid commercials. After commercial break, we come back. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are backstage. They're signing merchandise when Butch decides to attack the shit out of them, running wild all over them. I did like this segment tonight with Sheamus and Butch and all of them. Their group is pretty good. And I didn't like the fact that they changed Pete Dunne's name to Butch. I think everybody knows he's Pete Dunne. I'm hoping he's going to go back to Pete Dunne. Maybe this is why he's spazzing out right now. Maybe he's going to have like a character break on live TV and it will lead back to him being Pete Dunne. I'd be okay with seeing that. After that whole segment, Cole basically sends us to Chapter 2 of the Lacey Evans storyline, which they're really going hard now on SmackDown. This is the second week in a row where they're doing a vignette about Lacey Evans telling you about how hard she had it when she was growing up, how hard she had it with abuse from her father getting arrested, her father doing drugs, alcohol, and basically having a very rough life. Trying to get the sympathy of all the fans, of course, as I'm sure they're getting ready to push her to beat Charlotte Flair for the women's title. But we'll see how that goes. I think she's getting pretty good reaction, but at the same time, these segments would probably be better live than taped. I'm assuming they're being taped because she probably cannot stir up the emotion on demand, you know, like some people can. Who knows? I want to see her do a live cut of this same gimmick that she's got going on right now. If she really wants our affection, she should tell it to the people in the arena and see how that goes with that. After that, the segment with Sheamus and the boys continued a little bit. Butch was still livid, and he basically stormed off after punching these guys a little bit. But, you know, Sheamus said, this is just how we do things where we're from, okay? This is just a conversation. This isn't a fight, no problem. After that, you have the end of the night with Jey Uso versus RK Bro. The match was okay. Usos were definitely cleaner tonight than on Monday Night Raw, so props to them for stepping up tonight. But again, they're in the ring with one of the greats, Randy Orton, and they're in the ring with Riddle, who's obviously getting a lot of help from Randy Orton over these past year working together. You could see all the experience from Randy Orton rubbing off on Riddle. You know, and I like that. I think Riddle, when he was doing his work in NXT, I was a big fan from Jump Street. When I first saw him come through the curtain, I thought he was a complete clown. But then, when I saw his first pay-per-view match at one of the NXT takeovers, and you could see the way the match starts, and then his intensity would rise every couple of minutes to the point where you get to that breaking point in the match, and then he just has that intensity at a 10. He just has that intensity at a 10 all of a sudden out of nowhere. And that was fun to see, you know. And ever since that night, I've been a supporter of Riddle in the ring. Not so much on the mic. I wish he'd have a more serious gimmick, but I get it. He's trying to appeal to the masses, and he doesn't want to be a bad guy. He wants to be a good guy. He just wants to be somebody that gets along with everybody, has friends. But when it comes time to throw down, so him and RK are good pairing. It's too bad that the Bloodline wants the titles because they're going to get them, probably with the help of Roman Reigns. The match finished with Riddle doing a real sick version of the RKO, and he also did a GTS. You know, he did a GTS into a German suplex, which was, pretty funny to see. So apparently Riddle's got the go sign to do the GTS, go to sleep, just as a regular move into a setup, and then showing, hey, the German suplex is even better than that move, and then, we hit you with the RKO to let you know the GTS is here, and, my moves are here. So that's probably a little rip to CM Punk, probably from Randy Orton himself. I wouldn't be surprised, because, Randy Orton is the kind of locker room guy that he could give the permission to somebody, hey, you do that guy's move, don't gives a fuck. You do that guy's move on live TV, who cares? After the match, Orton rushed to the ring to celebrate with Riddle. As the music hit, the fans were cheering him, so they're definitely getting the big pop. But like I said, this is all going to lead to probably them losing the titles, because the Bloodline right now is undeniable until somebody does something about it. And unfortunately, Randy Orton is the man. He's one of the all-time GOATs, but he is not in the mindset. As long as he's with this whole RK Bro mindset, he's going to have to go through a dark transition again. And usually Randy Orton wins more championships when he's hearing the voices and listening to the voices and not doing too much of this. That's the dangerous Randy Orton. That's the 14-time. That's going to be the 15, 16, and maybe 17-time champion. My money is on Randy Orton breaking Ric Flair's record, which is I'd much rather see him, because he's acting like a real wrestler. Just like many people have told John Cena over the years, including Daniel Bryan. He told John Cena to his face, you are not a wrestler. So to put the belt on somebody who's not a wrestler, right? He's not a wrestler, according to you. You're letting DB say this on live TV, which led to John Cena smacking the shit out of him. But in my opinion, pound for pound, match for match, Randy Orton is better than John Cena overall in the ring. He has better moveset. He does more with his character. He has different angles. He can be good. He can be bad. He can be a hero. He can be, all these different things, where John Cena has been the singular. He's changed his character very, he had the thugonomics thing, which that's what he started with, but then, it went straight into John Cena, hustle, loyalty, and respect, and never really changed from there. He's had some fun over the years, but nothing long term, and just like a comeback for a couple of weeks. And so I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm real curious to know who you think is going to become a 17-time champion first, John Cena or Randy Orton. Who's going to do it first? I'd love to know what you think. I'd also love to know what else you'd like to see me work on. I'm going to be working on a bunch of videos from the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, top acts of pure magical power, top finishes in a match, top 5 build-ups to a match, top 5 matches of all time, top 5 best botches of all time. I'm going to also be working on a Superstar series weekly. The first series I'm going to do is going to be on The Undertaker, and that's because his recent induction into the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to do a series on The Undertaker, which is going to kind of give you a taste of his career from beginning to end in a quick fashion. So somebody that maybe has no idea who The Undertaker is could watch it, and in this 3-minute video, they'll have a good, detailed idea of who The Undertaker is. And, of course, they can always go back and watch 30 years of content, because that's what Undertaker did for the fans. He put on a show for a long time. So shout out to The Undertaker for retiring and being in a good place. On one last note, I want to just mention, he should have mentioned Mick Foley in his Hall of Fame acceptance, because in my eyes, maybe not yours, but in my eyes, Undertaker became a legend the moment that he threw that man off a cage. He was already a beast. He was already a phenom. He was already at the top echelon of the WWF at the time. But in my eyes, he became a legend the moment he threw Mick Foley off that cage, because that was something you've never, ever seen on WWF TV at the time. So I want to know if you agree with me also. Do you think Undertaker became a legend after that toss or before that toss? Or just in general, what are your thoughts on The Undertaker not mentioning Mick Foley at the Hall of Fame? Are you okay with it? I guess at the end I'm okay with it because it's his night, it's his time, he can do whatever he wants with it, but I personally would have appreciated it. Knowing Mick Foley and talking to Mick Foley several times over the years, he's a good guy, and he's done a lot for this business, and he did a lot for The Undertaker that night, whether The Undertaker wants to admit it or not. And that's it for tonight, guys. That was a SmackDown recap. I hope you enjoyed it. Monday Night Raw shaping up to be good because, hey, Cody Rhodes is on it. So to me, that's the A show. I'll be watching. We will see you on Monday night for the Monday Night Raw recap live on Wrestling with Savage. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe, follow, and share. Have a good night.